And here we are, this time still with the box actually intended to have a different, a bit of a surprise suit for this, but didn't really yet have time to test that enough to be confident with streaming with that, because worked most of the day with trying to get PC to work with different disc controller, which was more or less interesting, with a lot of interesting ways to crash with the drivers provided, but need to continue with that tomorrow, because made it quite easy that can switch back to the other one by just changing the cabling back, because now there are practically two different disc controllers in the computer itself, so just switch the cabling back and now it works again, so need to try more tomorrow, because the one that is included on the board, which is server one, also has no support for further OS, so it's like need to upgrade the controller, but then in turn the driver isn't very well done, which of course is like often the case with hardware, so in addition to carrying things back and forth to actually get the PC itself out, also had to have trouble with that, but at least the overall solution, how the cabling now goes from the four drives to the controller, works so that it's just changing the multi cable on the controller end to make that happen. So in that respect, at least in much less trouble now with that. And of course we are starting enhanced edition of Icewind Dale, and to also have Icewind Dale 2 with all expansions, and it actually runs quite nice still on moderately modern machinery. So once we finish the first one with the expansions, we'll be moving to the second one, which probably takes a long time, a lot like we played first two chapters of Neverwinter Nights and never got further, as it was very good at crashing the whole computer for some reason in some cases, of course when one considers how old that is. And also never actually played Icewind Dale in the period, did play Baldur's Gate 2, and knew of Icewind Dale and Planescape Torment. Didn't really like Planescape Torment at all. The world was interesting, let's say, detail-wise. Icewind Dale only knew about, but never actually had it in the period, so this is actually first time playing it, and only like knowing about games like knowing more about especially Neverwinter Nights, know a lot about Baldur's Gate, also played somewhat, but this is actually like totally new player in that respect, that haven't actually played Icewind Dale at all, as never owned it in the period, because these were like, also had Baldur's Gate 2, which took like what, 8 CDs, so it wasn't very easy either to use these in the period, because you had to have, do remember, had also like a 4 CD stack changer, so it saved a bit of time with things like that. But indeed, welcome all, and let's see how we survive with never having played. This might be the first try at creating a party, because of course try to create own the pre-made one could be used, but it's interesting that at least try might of course do builds that are not viable, but we'll see. So also running the game windowed, let's see how that works, haven't tested, so let's change over to the game. And hello there, Jax, good to have you here also. Hopefully your weekend has started well, as also all the other fluffs. And there we are, so single player, and we start a new game. And this is apparently Well-balanced group that can eventually tackle all that Icewind Dale can throw at it. Press on a portrait to see character statistics. Feel free to remove character and create your own. Alright. And at least the font is quite large, so this is at least moderately suitor friendly. Let's see then. Alright. Abilities. Open doors. 40. Would imagine the Berserker would be good at opening doors. My favorite weapon. Not yet known, unsurprisingly. And there are even written biographies for these. Rather like the Berserker. Let's check what the other breed-generated ones are. Multi-class, fighter/thief. Interesting. And here we see why multi-class advances much slowly, because you have practically two character classes, both you also utilizing the experience points, so that's kind of issue with multi-class class as usual. Right. And then we have a cleric/ranger, quite a few multi-classes actually. Mage, alright. And undead hunter, that sounds a little specific, would say. And bard, alright. So we do not have outright like single class cleric, and do have two multi-class ones like cleric class ranger, fighter/thief. And then we have the bard. Alright. Who like the Berserker enough, then would think about like as far as understand, the undead hunter is a hunter that hunts undead. It's not a undead. Undead was a hunter as far as remember. So it's practically like, let's see from information, like yeah, he's like more or less a crusader type. So it's undead hunter, not undead hunter. Logical. Yeah. Oh, hopefully you can rest enough to recover. Yeah, so he's certainly probably good against undead. He's practically a lot like Paladin would say, lawful good, so most probably compares quite well with a Paladin. Mage we would certainly want to have, but would like to actually see if we can generate a different one. Do not really want elf. Let's see what we can get. So I would like to create new character. And let's do male, and we have to choose appearance first, and it's kind of funny you choose race only after appearance, so it's like we are doing a mage, so we would like more mage-like types. These are quite a few of these appear more like fighters. Always the portrait things in these things are kind of interesting. Yeah, that looks most like a mage, so let's do that. What races we actually have? Half orc! Most probably wouldn't make the best mage ever, like probably hard to get much intelligence. And then we have half elf dwarf, and most probably like let's do human. Humans may not multi-class. That's interesting because it's limited in some cases, and there's also even shaman available. Probably would be interesting. Let's do regular mage though, so may not wear any armor. Yeah, probably wouldn't work well. And then we have like different class builds, a lot of abjurer, conjurer. It's rare to see the word abjurer even used, which is exactly correctly someone who specializes in protective magics. Alright, very alright, that's interesting. Never played much like D&D proper back in the day when actually did pen and paper RPGs. We never actually, because the source books were also from local library, they actually had only like RuneQuest or Middle Earth RPG or Call of Cthulhu, so never actually played actual D&D back in the day as pen and paper game, so considering the very specific limitations, probably would like a fireball, so do like the invoker, which is kind of like alright with the limitations. Requires at least 16 constitution, very well. Usually like would lean towards chaotic good for this kind of a thing. And charisma 15. Alright, do prefer to have more intelligence than like high charisma. Total roll 80. Be pretty alright. Yeah, that would be quite funny actually if you could import the images. Yeah, I do think this is sufficient. We do have pretty high stats. Usually like the weapon proficiency for a mage isn't very important. It's of course useful if you can like throw a dart, for example. And hold the weapon with no penalties. That makes the kind of impression that if you hold the weapon without any skill in it, then you get in some kind of trouble, like immediately stick yourself with it. If not proficient at all. Magic missile is pretty clear. Alright, that also does damage. Classical magic missile. Alright, do think these are alright to start with. Appearance, alright, so we can adjust pretty much everything. The color spectrum is organized in very interesting, quite peculiar order. Like, really adjust your appearance. You can also have really unusual skin colors. Alright. And then we need to choose the voice samples a lot like in Neverwinter Nights. Yeah, that's pretty usual for games, would imagine. Color spray, that sounds interesting, is like spray paint wise. We can of course check do think. What does color spray actually do? Yeah, it seems alright. Creatures with hit dice / levels fewer than or equal to the caster are knocked unconscious. Do not awake when struck for 5 crowns. Those who hit the dice levels 1 or 2 greater than the wizards are blinded for 3 rounds. Any other creatures are stunned for 1 round. Blind creatures are unaffected by color spray. Shield is kind of uninteresting comparatively. Alright, and we have memorized color spray and magic missile, alright, and we did appearance. We chose like the mage voice set. and then we get to give a name. So of course we are going to name this one with the color spray and all. We named this after the suit because it's fun. There we go. We actually created at least one character, which took considerable effort, and the rest do like enough that let's... Ah, hello there, Tiga. Good to see you. And you also, of course, get a wave. And let's play. Do not think going to create every character over, because that would take a good while and not bring that much benefit. So let's start the game.
Here, in the quiet fishing village of
Prologue.
one of the so-called 10 towns of Icewind Dale. The tiny community is hardly a town, but rather a collection of ramshackle huts crowded together upon the icy shores
All right.
of Lake Dinashire. Here, within a dimly
Doesn't
lit
seem
town,
like major town, certainly.
Huddled around a table, swapping tales and making grand plans for the future, completely unaware of the part they are to play in the events that are about to unfold.
At least the place looks... If that is the picture of the place, it's not very grand. It has some houses and some fancy house. Alright.
What's this? New face in town, eh? Well met, stranger. The name is Hrothgar, originally of Hillsfar. But now, after years of traveling up, down, and under Faerun, I am content to call this town my home. Who might you be?
Alright, usually it's not very useful to immediately refuse to tell who you are, so
Well then,
let's
welcome
greet
to
them
East Haven.
properly.
Whatever your business in these parts might be, I would offer you this small piece of advice.
You do well to be on your
Every
best
night,
behavior.
do well to be on your
Yeah,
best behavior.
sounds fair.
These folk are under my protection, and anyone who would seek to do harm to them in any way shall answer to me.
Alright.
That said, I'll let you get back to your cups. I'm sure you've had a long journey, and you'll find there's no better way to shake off the cold of the road than by downing a few mugs of Grisella's best.
That was very short warning. Yeah, this is quite classical, I have to say. The kind of old style RPG. Or at least old style in this respect, because of course there were before that quite a few ways to do this, like the gold box games, and before that the Wizardry and early Ultima kind of like pseudo 3D dungeons, but this is certainly one classical style of doing the CRPG. Alright.
If you're in need of lodging, I would recommend talking to Quimby over at the Snowdrift
Snowdrift Inn, over on the east side of the town. Sure.
Equipment and supplies can be purchased next door at Pomab's Emporium.
Prices are a bit high.
Prices are a bit high, even for a Kalashite. But you'd be better off well equipped and short of coin than the other way.
Alright.
Ill-prepared travelers don't last long in these parts. Once you've had a chance to rest up and get your bearings, come by and see me at my house. It's just a couple doors west of here. There's some business I would discuss with you. Farewell.
And then he leaves. Townsperson. Then there's probably the innkeeper. Hildred Highhammer and townsperson. Alright.
Understood.
Alright, kind of you have only options that somehow question the dwarf. And of course we would understand the dwarven metaphor, because more or less dwarves pretty much tend to stereotypically only consider mining, so somehow we can only leave or ask somewhat useless questions, so let's ask useless questions. A little new at this adventuring thing. Yeah, might be the case. Alright. Alright, Hrothgar unsurprisingly indeed is up to something as he asked to visit. And certainly we should ask from them. Let's also talk to the barkeep. Alright, you walk behind the counter to speak to them instead of like standing at the bar, you go behind the bar to speak with them. Sure. Operate this fine establishment. Let's ask questions. Alright, no time. I've just run out of everything. And yeah, you run out of everything. Alright, but like is your cellar not functional? A lot like there was this, like to remember, to think was it Morrowind or where this noble lady was worried that the rats may have eaten her pillows. Then in the next game it was like instead the problem was that the noble woman liked the rats, but the problem was that a cat had gotten there and was eating the rats. So instead of like worrying that the rats will eat her pillows, she was worried that the wildcat will eat the rats, which she appreciated, so that was kind of amusing. Alright, but what? Best problem. Alright. Anything we can do to help would imagine. Alright. Stairs to the cellar are in the back room. Don't let any of those little buggers creep back up here, alright. Alright. Alright, so we can select apparently all.
I'm on it.
Yes, so and can choose different formations. Stack and alright, the cross is stop. Hello there, Kisu. How's your day been? This one mostly spent time with everything, so that didn't yet get to test the new suit enough to actually use that. So using the regular one in this case, as most of the day tried to get PC working, and it works, but not yet quite in the way intended. So now have like one disk controller mostly warming up the room because it's not yet in use. Just moved the cable back because made it so that can move the multi-cable back to motherboard so that it runs with the onboard controller. instead of the one on the card, so. Oh, no problem at all. It of course is you come and watch when you can. We did play quite long Darkest Dungeon actually, like almost three hours, because got went on a long quest with like half an hour remaining and it actually lasted like almost 2 hours, so and you of course get the wave. Alright, not good use of our time. Yeah, would probably continue. Yeah, it was very long actually. Alright, let's see. Like, how do we get to the cellar if it was supposed to be in the back room, so let's first of all quick save here and apparently looks like can't move more that way at least. As can't actually stand in the room in the back. Area map. That doesn't seem very useful because it shows pretty much the same thing. Ah yeah, there's a stair cursor there. Alright, that's not very evident.
I'll make this as painless as possible. Here I come, and the hells come with me.
Looks like at least the beetle is taking damage. Yeah, that's surprisingly hard to squish. Considering the amount of damage taken, like, really?
Your life is forfeit.
Yeah, does it require some specific kind of damage? Mildly confused. Like, how much does that thing take? This shouldn't be, would imagine, that difficult. Considering do not know the game that well. Really. We should load anyway because someone already also expired mysteriously. And we quick saved for a reason. Let's check like the guy next door who was supposed to sell
Understood.
equipment first, because it seems that we are not using much. That was interesting experience.
I'm on it.
Fishmonger. We probably need more than fish. Alright, this would be the place for equipment.
Done.
Alright, he's very appreciative. Yeah, that would be, but Kisu, the problem is that they currently do not offer any drinks because there are bugs in the cellar we should dispatch, of which we tried and we actually couldn't kill even one of them. So currently, apparently getting something to drink in the bar is dependent on finding a way to dispatch of the bugs. So currently, Kisu, it appears that we need to first equip enough to actually squash the bugs before we get any drinks, because they are in the bug-infested cellar. So that's the problem. So let's see what they have for sale. Alright, this is probably the worst shopkeeper ever. And I would like to see some coin before I go to the trouble of showing you my wares. I have no patience for those who are just browsing. That's really good shopkeeper. Alright, you can also insult him, but do not think there's much use in that. This is surprising, like probably humor of the year 2000, like really. How can it be that the shopkeeper wants very hard to insult you? I just want to buy something. No, but I'm sure you're going to tell me. That somehow sounds like most interesting. Alright, that's very fancy title at least, like Royal Diplomatic Envoy of Kalimshan and appointed overseer of the northern caravan routes. Yes, and sure, and I'm the king of Mithril Hall. Yeah, forgive me, your lordship, let's apologize. Really, like this guy must be most difficult shopkeeper we have ever met. In general, the overall experience of game is interesting. You start, you can't even kill any bugs, then you go to the shop and the shopkeeper goes to elaborate lengths to insult you. Alright, my apologies, I did not mean to offend. Certainly we didn't try to be sarcastic, like, really. I'd like to see what you have for sale, which we started with. Yeah, charisma would probably help, but can it be that the shopkeeper really requires such high charisma? Finally, like, how can it be this hard? It was, of course, the berserker, but even then wouldn't imagine the shopkeeper would be that difficult. Probably low charisma might not help, but It was quite amusing dialogue, really. We have 650 gold and we are actually wielding a quarterstaff, so if we already have a quarterstaff wielded, how it can be that we can't kill the bugs? Also, he apparently has everyone doesn't probably have a quarterstaff, so I would imagine the inventory is shared. Like, this would require then checking about 10 different things, like what proficiencies the pre-generated characters have, so let's... Bottle of wine! You can also get some wine in the general store. Alright, so let's be done and then actually check the inventories, which we still need to learn how to do. Alright. So the quarterstaff was in overall inventory. We need to see like what... wine tasting. Which wines do you have, shopkeeper? Red. Yeah, that's kind of what it is like, most probably, that the game doesn't put a lot of effort into simulating different types of wines. And, like, how do we see the character record, and then we need to see which skills we have, so may not specialize in ranged weapons, alright, and fist one do, yes, we certainly had. Proficiency, two-handed sword. Alright, two-handed weapon style, so we should certainly buy the man two-handed sword. And then we have the cleric slash ranger, he should also use some kind of weapon. Let's see, warhammer, that's always stylish, pretty much this one's favorite. Two weapon style, alright. So fighting with a warhammer and a morning star sounds like somewhat demanding an exercise. At least warhammer for them then. And our undead hunter, long sword and shield style, so they could also use a shield. Everyone is using only the fist, so not surprising. Short sword, short bow, And here we do have the Bardwu. Dagger, alright, and here we have the dart, which we chose, so now we know. Yeah, very nice variety actually. Let's speak like with the slightly smarter guy, maybe we will do better.
Here.
I somehow think that our good berserker is not the best chopper, at least the shopkeeper was kind of.
No problem.
wherever the shopkeeper went. Would say that it would be nice if the game produced slightly brighter image. Let's see if we can do something about that. We can even increase the font size. Yep, that helps with the shooter for one, but can also read that more of like be good if could adjust brightness, because the maps are kind of not the most so going to just outright like increase brightness of the display, because this seems to have very early 2000s like image. And now can even see the shopkeeper. And apparently can't talk again with them, or nope. Really? Did they lose interest?
Orders? Understood. Got it.
Let's go outside and back in, maybe they would regain their interest. No! Really? Alright, it has to be. And this time we even go and speak with slightly smarter person. The problem is that you have to click exactly on the bottom of the character. It's not like that you click at any part. It's exactly the bottom of the character. It's not like their head or anything. You have to click at the bottom of the sprite, which is kind of... You have to actually seek the few pixels where the cursor changes to the speaking cursor. Like, yeah, that works. Alright, I would like to buy something. At least they do not again go through elaborately insulting us. Yeah, do now know. The Neverwinter Nights one is a bit easier in that respect. Alright, and now we can buy. We have 650 gold, so we should spend it quite wisely. First of all, probably should buy. There was the guy with shield and sword, so let's buy a medium shield. And we needed one two-handed sword. We needed one long sword. We needed one warhammer. Apparently they do not even have any. But they have a flail and morning star, so let's buy a flail. They actually also had a warhammer, but then we use a flail. The katana is quite expensive, clearly exotic weapon. Let's also buy like 3 sets of studded leather armor and 3 helmets. That helmet costs only 1, so who prefer the... Alright. And then we needed darts. At least the darts are not very expensive, so let's buy enough of those. And then we can do first round of like equipping. Alright, there we go. And do you think the cleric used the warhammer? Yes. Or flail, and we chose the flail by accident partially, but do you think it was this that had the long sword and shield style? Yes. There we go. That looks much more impressive as you now have the sword and shield on. And also nice leather armor, better than nothing very probably. And did we buy more than one of them? Apparently not. Let's also divide out some helmets for those who can actually wear one. Looks even more. Alright, and they would use mace. There's also a picture of mace in the image, and they should have the dart. Here we had the short sword or short bow. Alright, that looks clearer. And then we still need to buy the dagger or mace and short sword or short bow. let's buy more studded leather hammers. Short bow. And some arrows. And then we should again mostly have everything necessary. Additional equipment, so there we go. Looks good with the flail, certainly. We should have a dagger here, and here we already have the darts.
I'm here.
Alright, let's buy one of those. Do prefer the maze probably because also the image shows a maze.
You want me?
But probably can't wear armor actually if they do have any wizard spells, so. And everyone else had armor, and now we even have like nice. So let's quick save again. There we go. And then we might be ready to encounter the famous bugs again.
Listening. Done. Got it.
Let's see if we fare any better. Alright, and then again the yeah. My customers are getting pretty thirsty. You know Kisu well, apparently. Let's work on getting rid of the bugs then, so down the stairs we go.
Are you ready for me?
Alright, this time the bugs are getting squashed like critical miss. Alright, that went well.
Understood.
Clearly getting weapons helped a lot. Numerous bottles of wine and other spirits. That was simple task once you actually got weapons. You couldn't kill the bugs with fists, which is very interesting when you think about Kisu. You try to attack. You try to attack like a
Understood.
bug and you hit it with your fist or foot and it won't ever die. Alright, bugs won't be troubling you anymore. Alright, I don't walk thinking Grisella's place isn't clean. Yeah, great rewards, 5 gold. Yeah, good to use Big Shot to kill roaches, like, yes. Let's see if we can now drink. And then you have to walk behind the counter. How about a drink? Alright, now we can drink. There's separate like drinking UI. Mead for winter wine 5 gold, mead 4 gold. Frost giant yellow snow melt. That sounds like somewhat suspicious a cocktail. Grisella's Dale Ale, Lasken Stout. Cormorant Brandy is 10. Wow, that's very... Knee Cracker Cider. Alright. What shall we have, Kisu? Let's save the game first, like a proper save slot. Bar free. Maybe some mead. Alright, let's have some mead. Alright, it at least spends money, so let's get a few. There we go. Did it appear in the inventory or... Doesn't seem so... That produced very little effect, have to say. Still no time to talk, so... Let's also have some... There's a table for rumors, but we didn't see any rumors. Alright, now we can have some rumors, like after drinking some winter wine. Yes, we know, already heard from the... Let's have more wine. The same rumor. And alright, some caravans have been attacked lately. Was enough wine probably for us. At least they do not walk too wobbly even after having a bit of wine. Alright, and there's the dwarf, and there's the townsperson. There's the other townsperson. What does the townsperson say? Yeah, some wine and a few mugs of mead. Hopefully, we'll still swing the sword properly. You come from the south. Yes, I wanted to ask some things about East Haven. Things have been getting worse of late, though. You mean the weather? Do you know where I can find Rotka's house? That would be, of course, useful. Alright, what else we can ask? Weather's been going from bad to worse. Snowdrift in, yes. Alright, got an elf quest from the south. Alright, that's... And does the other townsperson only have the same dialogue?
Ready. Here. I'm on it.
It's literally like a single pixel. Alright, only the same dialogue, so... Quick save here and... That's the big house. Let's see what that is.
Got it.
Alright. Wouldn't be a good idea to fight dragons. Alright. Alright, Temple of Tempus. Alright, where he's from. Alright, Neverwinter. Alright, barbarians don't really like immigrants. How surprising. Alright, you can annoy them in various ways. Alright. You can complain also, but like considering Tempos is the battle card, it's kind of not very meaningful to complain. Alright, what local battles do you celebrate? Battle of Gerard Stone. Everard prefers any questions about it be directed to him. Alright. And there he is, so we could talk even more in the temple, but let's
Got it.
move for now. Let's see if the area map now shows like. Alright, there's someone. I could really use some help. What seems to be the problem? Alright, that went well. Wolf attacked and then he even snapped the key off. That went really well. A woof, yes, Kisu. Alright, go in there and get rid of that stupid thing. Then I could get back to Scrimshaw. Of course, you'll have to wait to get the door open first. How am I supposed to get the door open if you broke the key off in the lock? Would think the thief could pick the lock, most probably. I don't care, break it down if you have to. That of course also works, like the berserker goes and breaks the door down. Alright, let's try and dispatch the... If he's standing in front of that building, would imagine that is his shop, so let's again quick save here and see how the wolf reads us. Locked. Let's see if we can like pick the lock, whoever was the thief.
How may I best? How can I help? Yes.
Yeah, there's a spell for that most probably also. Alright, that was the one that was the fighter slash thief. How do we get the functions? Thieving.
Here I go.
Lockpick succeeded. Yeah. That worked. Now let's save here.
I'll handle it.
And there's the wolf, so... Alright, that was quite easy. We took a bit of damage, so do think that we can rest a bit here. You may not rest here. Alright. Clear enough. Wooden workbench is cluttered with tools and scrimsaw shavings. So scrimshaw is kind of like the art to do patterns and decorations on fish bones. So they are probably fishing and doing decorations on fish bones. Probably not even trapped if wolf did not trigger. No. The wolf was actually alright. We could rest a bit first, so. You may not rest here. Fair enough. The wolf is no more. I am now a happy man. Thank you for helping me. Here's a little something for your trouble. Alright, and we got 25 gold. And we also received a special dagger. Alright. Whoever has the dagger. Absol's dagger. Grip is made of intricately carved knucklehead trout bone. Yeah, as noted that it's carving, bone carving kind of like special. This scrimshaw. And alright, there we are, so. Do think we had like, was it her who also? There was one who had specialization also for the dagger. Yes, so she probably could use it. Alright. One d6 plus 1, speed 7, and how's the dagger? 1d4, speed factor 1, speed factor 7. Alright. How does the dagger does 1d4. Alright, let's keep using for now. Alright, that was also pretty easy to dispatch of the wolf. This place has a big door, so it's probably something to do with the harbor itself. Alright, let's then see. That was the temple. right, they are looking at the squirrel. And that's what they are joking about, like looks like a furry rat. Snowdrift Inn, so we could at least rest in the inn after fighting the wolf.
Done.
I'd like a room, friend. Alright, we can have like various levels of room, a lot like in Wizardry. Alright, and how much like one? How much does then like frugal business traveler? Not so pampered as to promote oversleeping. Alright, let's rent a room. It also had a little rat in it. No wonder. And now we are healed, so you have rested for 8 hours. Alright. Let's get back out and try to find Rotgar's house.
Agreed.
Yeah, that was pretty good sleep. Healed, so whose house would this be? There's no one
Understood.
there, so
Got it.
he's making interesting noises, certainly. Are you alright? You seem preoccupied. They certainly seemed preoccupied. Just taking the view of the lake, making weird noises also. The dreams have been fishing in me of late. Barely catch a wink before they rouse me from it. What kind of dreams? Well, there's a woman and I don't give me that eye. It's not like you think. Alright. Alright, let's see if we can find anything. Let's try and get everyone into the place because the pathfinding kind of got stuck. There we go. Ah, hello there, Briareus. Most probably as it's been 1.5 hours of starting out Icewind Dale will most probably finish soon, but of course greeting you in any case. Good to see you here. Icewind Dale seems to work well, and we even beat some bugs and a wolf. So also have done some quests like the barkeep paid magnificent 5 gold pieces for defeating the bugs in the cellar which were stopping any drinks being sold. Then we had some meat and some wine and heard some rumors, and then went and also defeated a wolf from the Scrimshaw workshop. So it's been busy in Icewind Dale with. Then we have been trying to find the house of the guy who's supposed to be preparing an expedition, but haven't really found it yet. Townsperson. Yeah, this doesn't appear to be their house.
I'm on it. All right.
Doesn't look like the right house either. There's Rodgar. Good. Let's
Well, my
talk
friend,
with them.
and welcome to my home. Make yourselves comfortable, but try not to break anything. Many of these curiosities that you see lying about have...
You have quite a collection here. At least his house looks the fanciest.
Oh, they're all remembrances of my adventuring days. Little
Adventuring days,
trinkets
so you
that I picked up here and
retired
there.
then.
More. Semi-retired, actually. This region is still untamed and fraught with many dangers. I've had plenty of In fact, I'm
planning such an expedition right now. That's what I wanted to speak to you about. What sort of expedition? We've received word from Kuldahar, our neighbors to the south, that evil forces are stirring nearby in the spine of the World Mountains. Alright, interesting.
I am
organizing and leading a party from East Haven south to Kuldahar Valley to investigate. You look to be capable enough, at least capable enough now that we bought some weapons. Originally we tried to squash the bugs and did a lot of damage, but they just didn't expire. Perhaps you'd like to join us, what say you? What sort of evil forces are we talking about? Sounds exciting, Countess Inn would say.
Excellent. Glad to have you on board. I plan to assemble the rest of the With storms brewing in the mountains, I'd rather we depart sooner. But there are matters that require
What sort of
my attention
matters?
here.
Perhaps we could
Now that I
help.
think about it, maybe you can help.
Pomap, the local shopkeeper, has recently expressed concern over the rapidly thinning stock of his store. He's been complaining that the regular caravan from Cardinevale is long overdue and that if they do not arrive soon, he's sure to be out of business. Now normally I take Pomap's whining with a grain of salt, but with heavy snows on the way, it would be best to make sure the caravan makes it through. I want you to find that caravan, leave down by the way of Southbridge and scout the hills west of Lackdineshire, between East Haven and Cardinevale. Caravans always stick close to the shoreline in this time of the year. Once you find it, see the caravan safely to East Haven. In the meantime, I'll assemble the rest of the expedition and make final plans for the journey. Alright, so we've found Hrothgar and got the mission.
We must make for Kuldahar Pass while the weather is favorable. Good luck.
Alright, and let's save again as stream finish 1. There we go, as we have now played the pretty much usual 1.5 hours, and starts to be also a good time to gradually finish and do a raid, and then finish here for the evening. So going to switch to the main screen. There we go. Thank you all for joining for some start of the Icewind Dale, and from the reactions and pretty good audience, do think that the game is rather liked. So do think that we'll be regularly doing Icewind Dale now, especially as it works very well. Actually, the windowed version also, and it certainly has the classical isometric RPG style. So would say that the game certainly stays in selection. And then first of all, thank you all for joining, and let's check who we will raid. So let's see who's doing what. Bergwolf is doing their 24-hour stream. Jackal Bobad is playing. Ninja Gaiden, alright. And let's see what the new Ninja Gaiden looks like. Looks quite modern. And the cutesy jackal has been 4 hours up to it, but of course, Ninja Gaiden game, this looks like 10 times more modern than the old ones that were like 2D games. This is some kind of 3D, very flashy effect fighting game. Not that much actual retro games currently being played, let's see. And Berg probably is by now sleeping in 2000. Let's also check quickly what Berg is doing and then decide between those two.
Okay, du entscheidest, dass ich Berg schmeiße, sehr nett.
So let's see what Berg is up to. Berg and others are playing a board game in Suits. Alright, this certainly deserves. They are playing kind of like some kind of roll and move game. There's Berg and there's Wolf, and alright, let's go and raid them. They certainly deserve, because that's uncommon content, so they certainly deserve the raid. So let's go and see Bergwolf and others play some roll and move game in Suits, and see you tomorrow. Thank you all for joining. There we go, and good night all.